Contractor personnel are required to receive a basic orientation prior to working at the Nicolet mill. This orientation is a brief review of site-specific issues and establishes the expectations for work at the mill. It is not a substitute for initial and ongoing training in federal and state rules and regulations provided by the contract company. The driveway to the Nicolet mill entrance is accessed from 5th Street. The vehicle parking lot is located north of the driveway. Contact your Nicolet job coordinator to determine offloading within the yard area. Any personal or company property, including but not limited to vehicles, lunch pails, purses, etc., is subject to inspection upon entry and exit from the mill yard area. All non-mill personnel must log in and out through security at the appropriate gate. The introduction, possession, or the use of drugs, alcohol, firearms, or explosives on Nicolet property is strictly prohibited. Plastic and silicone-based products are prohibited from use in the Nicolet mill due to contamination of our products. Silicone products are prohibited inside the mill. Plastic contamination of Nicolet's products can result in large quantities of paper that is not acceptable for sale. Extreme care must be taken to properly dispose of materials. All waste materials must be placed into proper trash containers. Items such as electrical ties, food baggies, food and candy wrappers, and tape are of particular concern. Other recycling containers include red drums for plastic, glass, and metal containers, blue drums for aluminum cans, and cardboard gaylords for office paper and cardboard. The large green metal hoppers are not waste containers. Due to the risk of contamination of our products by flying insects, doors and windows without screens shall be maintained closed during bug season. Tobacco products, electronic cigarettes, and tobaccoless chew are prohibited on the premises. This applies to all work areas, parking lots, buildings, vehicles, on persons, in lockers, in lunch boxes, in purses, or anywhere else on company property. No smoking in personal vehicles while on company property. Safety glasses are required to be worn upon entering the gate at the facility and in all work areas. Glasses may be removed in the offices or break rooms. Glasses cannot be removed during breaks in work areas. Steel-toe shoes and hearing protection must be worn throughout the mill. Hard hats are always required where overhead work is being performed. Also, when a paper machine's line shaft is locked out, hard hats are required in the entire basement and on the main floor between the front side of the dryer hoods to the back of the line shaft. Shirts with at least 4-inch sleeves shall be worn at all times. Shirt tails must be tucked in to prevent entanglement with moving equipment. Pants must extend to below the ankles. All clothing shall be free of holes. Shorts and hooded clothing are prohibited. Jewelry of any kind is not allowed. Hair longer than shoulder length shall be secured up when entering moving equipment boundaries or working with power or rotating machinery or tools. Cell phones should be used in safe areas out of the way of production or construction tasks. No driving or using of equipment while using a cell phone. No walking in production or traffic areas while using a cell phone. Pedestrian traffic is limited in the shipping and pulp receiving warehouse. Avoid these departments unless access is required for the job. Notify area personnel when you are in these areas. Pedestrian traffic is restricted in the pulp warehouse directly below the high lift area under the hydropulper mezzanine. This area is clearly marked as restricted. Do not walk or stand under or beside suspended loads. Do not walk between the paper machine dampener and the super calendar. Zones A through F when rolls are being hoisted unless the roll is less than 1 foot off the floor. No one is allowed behind either super calendar while they are operating. Zones G and H, indicated on the drawing. Powered industrial trucks must be operated according to OSHA, consensus, and mill standards. This includes use of seatbelt, pre-use inspections, driving no faster than walking speed, and stopping at posted intersections. Blue flags, signs, or lights are used at railroad crossings to alert the railroad that work is being performed on or across the tracks. Contractors should not park or perform work on railroad tracks unless a blue flag, sign, or light and derailleur have been placed on the tracks. In an emergency, dial 5555 from any phone and enter the 2 or 3 digit code followed by the pound sign to activate a PA announcement to dispatch help to that area. You should then dial 1203 to relay specific information to security personnel. Listen to an alarm message sample.
Attention NERT Primary Response Team. Please report to Building 18, Sublevel 1, Stock Prep Pulp Storage Area.
If a fire is discovered, immediately report it to security at 1203. Then you can attempt to put out minor fires with handheld fire extinguishers. Contractors are prohibited from using the facility's fire hoses. If evacuation is needed, an alarm followed by an instruction message will sound over the public address system. Follow the instruction and report to the safe rally location. The primary rally location is to the west of the mill, outside the guardhouse gate. The secondary rally location is to the south of the mill, at the alley loading docks. Listen to an alarm message sample.
Attention all team members. Emergency machine shutdown. Evacuation. Primary rally location. Attention all team members. Emergency machine shutdown. Evacuation. Secondary rally location.
Do not leave the assembly area until you have been accounted for and are directed to do so by a Nicolet supervisor. The tornado shelter is located in the basement of Building 21 beneath number 4 super calendar. Listen to an alarm message sample.
Attention all team members. Emergency machine shutdown. Report to tornado shelter.
You should immediately report injuries and illnesses to your Nicolet job coordinator so treatment can be provided. Any OSHA recordable injuries must be reported. The contractor is responsible for completing an incident investigation report. Contractor employees must be knowledgeable of appropriate work practices, emergency procedures, and personal protective equipment when working with hazardous chemicals. Notify your job coordinator of any chemicals brought on site for large jobs, such as more than 5 gallons of paint, floor or tile chest surfacing material, or roofing materials. Contractor safety data sheets need to be located on site at all times that the chemical is present. Safety data sheets for Nicolet products are available. Contact your Nicolet job coordinator if you need this information. The contractor should remove and properly dispose of all waste materials and chemicals at the completion of the job. Any excess chemicals that were brought on site for specific jobs should be removed when the task is completed. Some common items that cannot be placed into the trash include batteries aerosol cans, and light bulbs. Do not pour anything down a storm or process sewer. The contractor must arrange hazardous waste disposal with the facility's environmental department or job coordinator in compliance with state and federal regulations. Contractors are responsible for disposal of their solid waste. Any oil or fuel storage container greater than 55 gallons must have secondary containment. Any oil or fuel stored where runoff could go to the storm sewer must have secondary containment regardless of the size of the container. Flammable liquids must be stored in approved safety cans. Plastic gas cans are not allowed. Flammable liquids and LP tanks must not be stored inside or on roofs. Small containers of fuel can be stored in the flammable storage shed outside. Compressed gas cylinders should be secured in a cart, or tanks must be capped and secured by positive means to prevent tipping. All ZES lockouts must be planned with your Nicolet job coordinator. Each individual ZES lock must identify the employee and company name. Each individual must place his or her own personal lock through a hasp on the facility lockbox system. Each individual must remove their own lock. Contractor employees shall not operate electrical disconnects or isolate energy sources without authorization from the department in which the work is being performed. Nicolet's line breaking procedure must be followed when any sealed process system is open for any reason. Nicolet employee wheeled toolboxes may not be moved unless all drawers are closed and a locking device is in place. This is to prevent a weight shift that could cause a toolbox to tip over. Contractors cannot use Nicolet's tools or equipment without the Nicolet job coordinator's permission. All contractor personnel must sign the orientation liability waiver prior to using Nicolet equipment. The facility has established moving equipment boundaries, which includes the use of painted lines, signs, barrier guards, and other methods. You may not cross boundaries of moving equipment unless the equipment is locked out and in zero energy state, or unless you are trained and authorized to perform the task for which you are entering. Contact your Nicolet job coordinator to review specific moving equipment boundaries and procedures prior to performing work in a protected area. Fall protection is required when working at heights of 4 feet or more, including near the edge of roofs, or when leaning over guardrails or past the frame of ladders, when using a boom lift or stepping off the platform of a scissor lift. Contractors are expected to know and understand fall protection systems and utilize the correct equipment for each task, as well as identifying appropriate anchor points. You must notify your Nicolet job coordinator prior to starting job tasks requiring fall protection when you will be working in remote areas or alone. Metal ladders are prohibited. You are not to sit or stand on the top 2 rungs of the ladder. If overextending or reaching is required, scaffolding or fall protection may be required to perform the job safely. When using aerial work platforms, a safe zone is required around the base of the lift to ensure pedestrians are protected from overhead hazards and that a collision with a passing vehicle is minimized. The 3 barrier options are yellow aerial work platform perimeter tape, danger tape and a tag, or caution tape and a tag. Check with your Nicolet job coordinator and reference procedure M57 to select a job appropriate barrier. Accident prevention tags, tape, and signs are to be used to notify personnel of hazards. Access to these areas must be in conformance with OSHA standards. Due to the risk of contamination, Nicolet requires cloth tape to be used. Danger shall indicate major hazard situations where an immediate hazard presents a threat of death or serious injury to personnel if the necessary precautions are not taken. Caution shall indicate minor hazard situations where a non-immediate potential hazard or potential unsafe practice presents a lesser threat of personal injury. Any unknown insulation or other potential asbestos-containing material is to be treated as asbestos-containing material. Contractor personnel are prohibited from removing or disturbing material until the insulation or material is determined to be asbestos-free. A Nicolet permit is required for each person performing a hot work task. Hot work shall not start until all precautions specified by the permit have been taken. The permit must be authorized by a Nicolet job coordinator. A trained fire watch shall remain at the site for 30 minutes. Other Nicolet permits are required for specific work activities on the job site: hot work, confined space entry, radiography, personnel basket, scaffold, jackhammer, excavation, power line, and asbestos removal. A Nicolet permit is required when entering any confined spaces. Atmospheric testing must be performed and documented prior to entering any confined space, as well as every 2 hours. Work with your Nicolet job coordinator to ensure that all precautions are taken for confined space entry. Never attempt an entry rescue without the proper backup resources. The confined space must be ventilated if hot work is being conducted or chemicals are used. Demolition activities and equipment removal should ensure that all remnant hazards are eliminated, such as bolts protruding from the floor and sharp edges. Before beginning any construction or renovation involving painted surfaces, the material must be tested for lead content. Contact your Nicolet job coordinator to assist with this process. All paints used at the facility will be lead-free. Any blatant, serious safety violations may result in temporary or indefinite termination of an individual or contract company. Complete and return the orientation document before starting any work. Thank you and have a great day at Nicolet.
The entire Nicolet team is dedicated and committed to creating an accident-free workplace. To achieve this goal, it takes help from everyone at our facility: employees, contractors, and visitors. We expect everyone to follow our safety policies and procedures, report any unsafe conditions, and look out for the safety of each other. We also expect everyone to take the time to assess each job or task prior to beginning work, ensuring that all proper safety precautions have been made to eliminate or mitigate potential hazards. We greatly appreciate your commitment to work safely while you are here at the Nicolet Mill.